Hey everybody, this is herculespetix, founder, curator, docent, and gift shop employee of the herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies. Today we're going to be looking at Unearthly Spectaculars number 2. I don't have number 1 or number 3, and I don't think I need them because I looked them up on Grand Comic Database and they don't look that great. But this one is a must-have comic. This comic is crazy, guys. This is heaven and hell, this comic. It is the sacred and the profane. It is chocolate milk and diarrhea juice. It is like some of the best shit of the Silver Ages in here. And then some of the worst shitty dreck is in here. It's so bizarre. So this is published by Harvey, as you can see here. It was 1966. Harvey figured they'd get in on this superhero craze. You know, the Batman TV show, the Marvel comics were like blowing out of the newsstands. And a lot of companies tried their hand at superhero stuff. You know, like Archie did it with MLJ, whatever it was called back then, Mighty Comics. So Harvey figured, we'll get in on this action. And as you can see by the cover, this kind of demonstrates the heaven and hell aspect. We have this character, Jack Quick Frost. And he's the superhero they created for this comic. And it's the dumbest fucking superhero you've ever seen. He's just idiotic. This is so bad. The art on this cover is pencils by Joe Simon, inks by Jack Sparling. Oh, I'm sorry. I believe this is Jack Sparling. I think Joe Simon just did this little thing up here. And so that's the hell. And hey, look, there's little demons there. I didn't even plan that. But then look at this, guys. Wally Wood's in here. He's in here twice. And it's heavenly. It's very nice. So Harvey, just like Tower Comics, all their superhero comics are 25 cents. So they're extra fat. Though they are padded out with reprints from the, Harvey, their 50s golden age stuff. Because they had serious comics back then. Of course, by the 60s, all they did was this, Richie Rich, Casper. So they have this little kind of contents page, a little coming attractions type thing. And we see, I forgot there's even crappier heroes in here than Jack B. Frost. Okay, let's get going. So we have Jack Quick Frost. I think he's technically just Jack Frost. But throughout the comic, people call him Jack B. Frost, Jack Quick Frost. All these variations on the name. Let's just call him Jack Frost. And this is this chapter of this epic is called The Ice Prison. And we have a splash panel. We're introduced to the villain, Lord Lazy. So you could tell they're definitely going for the camp elements of superhero. They're like almost like the Mighty Comics did. Sorry guys if I'm getting that wrong. It was the 60s Archie. They published the Mighty Crusaders. Maybe it was called something else, but hopefully you know what I'm talking about. They did all those really bad superhero comics. So we see a satellite. It beams a message to American leaders, the White House, and it says, if you don't capitulate to my demands, I'm going to blow up the Panama Canal. Of course, it's Lord Lazy. And he's got this little butler guy in this weird outfit, as if he's from the future. His name is Vigoro. Guys, I forgot to mention the credits for this. So this is GCD's not sure, but they think Otto Binder wrote this. But they are sure that Jack Sparling penciled and inked it. And Gaspar Saladino, one of the great letters of comics, lettered it. It's probably the only good thing about this comic. So there's so many weird things in there. They're just so convoluted. That's why I would say this is not Otto Binder. I know Otto Binder wrote a lot of silly stories, but he told them in a, I don't know, just he knew what he was doing. This writer just seems to be like, instead of just like showing a missile blowing up the Panama Canal, there's this whole thing about a robot. Lord Lazy transmits to this robot who sets off the missile that's going to blow up the Panama Canal. Just like all this extraneous, stupid stuff that's like, it's very dumb. So, of course, the president is just like, what are we going to do? Now we cut away. We're in the Arctic Circle, and they're doing atomic tests in the Arctic Circle, which is blowing icebergs to pieces. This does not seem wise. And I guess this is before they know about global warming. And they see this like a thing imprisoned in the iceberg, like in a chunk of ice. And one guy jokes about how, I thought Jack Frost was a myth. And then it says, holy cow, the thing's leaped up on top of the iceberg. Which doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's malleable ice. Like, somehow the ice can move. It doesn't just crack open. So they're about to shoot him, and he says, wait, come onto this iceberg and hear what I have to say. Every now and then I like Jack Sparlin's faces, but for the most part, I find this art very just kind of homely. It's just like, it's not fun to look at. It's kind of icky. I know that's I'm not being a very good art critic, but that's how it strikes me. It's just like, I don't want to read this. So this guy says, I kind of lost my memory, but I remember something. I was a captive aboard a plane. Enemy agents threw me out into the ocean. The water, of course, was too freezing for a human to bear. But somehow he got sucked up into an iceberg, which put him in a state of suspended animation. So I don't know why he just didn't die. It's really... I've read a few of these Harvey superhero comics. All the characters are idiotic. They're the worst origin stories you've ever heard. So he comes out of the water. It seems like he could like blow ice, a freezing ray comes out of his mouth. And this is the end of this chapter. We have a letter page. Since there's no letters, they're asking readers to write in and tell them what they're doing wrong, so they can improve. And I wonder how many kids are just like, I don't have the fucking time. I don't have a spare week to tell you everything that's wrong about this comic. This is intriguing, though. They had a war comic, and that is definitely Wally Wood art. So I got to hunt this down. Wally Wood doing war comics is a good thing. Then we have this little one-page short story, Ice Creature. And this is featuring Jack Frost. His real name's Agent James Flynn, we find out. And this is weird because this just retells what we just read or are about to read. It's not like some new interesting story. Okay, so here's this chapter 2, Back to Life. So we're in this like ship. He's melting, slowly melting. And through a flashback, James Flynn tells his story. He was at the ICA training school, which is the CIA. I don't know why they feel like the need to, cover up the identity of the CIA. And he trains for this mission. So we see him training. He's like a super agent. He's got all the stupid shit on he's got a mini TV projector in his belt. Because, this is also the era of James Bond, Man from U.N.C.L.E. So, that's where S.H.I.E.L.D. comes from. Mixing the super spy with the superhero. The two genres. So I guess these guys are setting up a missile site in the Arctic, in Alaska. He goes up there, he gets jumped, and these bad guys, capture him. And they threw him in the ocean, as he said earlier. So now we're back to the present. They're all trying to figure out, maybe they reversed the ions in your body. Who knows what powers this guy has? I don't know what's going on with this ear here. It looks like he has a giant tumor coming out of his head. That's an interesting color right there. Trying to do a little fade effect. So now it turns out that behind all of this stuff is Lord Lazy. And he's not based in Alaska anymore. He's based in a major metropolitan city in the U.S. They're like, Lord Lazy's striking again. We'll fly you over there. And this is where it gets really dumb. This is how crappy the superhero is. These robots under Lord Lazy's command are attacking an armored truck. Him and his, lead controlling agent, kind of his sergeant. He also has a super suit. They land. And then as soon as they land, Jack Jack Frost is all like, it's too hot here. I guess I've cooled down. And so in the middle of this fight, the robots are kicking his friend's ass, and they're continuing to get inside this armored truck. He has to run into this frozen foods factory. He has to hose himself down and then jump into the freezer for God knows how long. So he has a nice protective shell of ice. Once again, this ice is malleable. It's like rubber. He can move around with a sheath of ice all over him. What a stupid weakness. Basically, this guy has to do this every time. I mean, it's not like it's super hot here. It's just any normal temperature. He becomes weak. He even says he's suffocating. So he'll die unless he's constantly kept in a frozen state, which is a really, I mean, that's a weak superhero. So now we have the next chapter, the showdown. So now he's back, ready for action. His powers are at full force, and he's zapping these guys with cold rays. He's freezing up their oil, congealing the oil in these robots so they're frozen. Lord Lazy says, that bastard, I gotta send in another guy. This'll take care of him. So just one robot parachutes down. But this one's got a big flamethrower in his head. So of course this is very, very perilous for Jack Frost. And they're dodging and weaving. And finally, Jack realizes, I've got to freeze the ground beneath him. Every time I try to hit him, his blowtorch just melts the ice. The robot, being all clumsy, slips on the ice and allows Jack to freeze him and immobilize him. Lord Lazy is furious. He sends in his robot double, because Lord Lazy never gets up out of his chair. He really is very lazy. And now we're back at the offices of the ICA. And they get news that Lord Lazy is attacking again. So they go, apparently it's at this a steel mill, like a steel smelter, which is not a good place for Jack Frost to be. He shows up. There's the Lord Lazy robot double, and he pours molten lava all around Jack Frost. It looks like he's done for. So Jack Frost freezes the girders, and I don't know why this would really help that much, but it drops the molten shit. And, earlier, just the midday sun made him almost suffocate. But he's in the middle of the smeltering plant with molten crap all around him. And he seems fine. The pet comic ends with Lord Lazy fuming and yelling and pissed off. So, I think I gave way too much time to this story. God, I went back to just show you this art is just so icky. Just so crappy all around. Next we have Piranha, Deadliest Creature in the World. This is like a 2-page summation of Piranha. It's basically an ad because he appears in the other Harvey comic, Thrillerama. This guy sounds idiotic. He's half man, half fish. And he lives in a houseboat. And he has a little hatch at the bottom. He has 2 friends who help him fight underwater crime. Barra and Cuda, the Barracudas. And I guess they're specially trained. He has ingenious jet flippers, because an underwater hero should really have jet flippers. And apparently he can't breathe unless he's in water, like a fish. So he has to have these goggles on, full of water. I am a dummy, but even my rudimentary knowledge of science, you'd run out of oxygen, I think. I'm pretty sure. I think he would drown. He'd drown in air. Actually, I think I just misspoke, sorry. It's so dumb that now I'm getting dumb. This comic's making me dumber. And, the writing is so dumb in these lines just leap out at you. His depth trident has the accuracy of an arrow. Yeah, it's like a crossbow. Of course it has the accuracy of an arrow. It's not like bizarre. If you have good aim, you could be very accurate with one of those, spear guns. He's got a net. And back on the mainland, he has a woman who loves him. This mysterious woman. And here's a little ad. So this is really just a 2-page ad. I think it is reprinted. It might be reprinted from Thriller-Rama itself. I'm going to check real quick. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not in this GCD thing. I can't find it. But I'm pretty sure that looks like Jack Sparling to me. So, I think that's probably him. Sorry, guys, just looking real quick to make sure. I don't get it. I don't know why GCD hasn't listed this. Oh, because it's an ad, technically. It is just an ad. Okay, guys. Now here's where we go from the contents of a baby's diaper to the finest Swiss chocolate offered. This is amazing. And it's a Clawfang introduction. Once again, this is like a 2-page primer to Clawfang. This is reprinted from Thriller-Rama, the comic that Piranha's in, from like 3 months earlier. And I guess it's the far-flung future. There's been multiple nuclear wars. Basically, mankind, civilization has fallen, clawed its way back many times. And oh, before I turn the page, guys, I should mention. So the script for this little 2-pager, this is a script by Wally Wood. Pencils, Al Williamson. And inks, Al Williamson. And Roy Krenkel helping out on some of the backgrounds, as Roy Krenkel was wanted to do with his friend Al Williamson. So in this world now, there's dinosaurs. Like, basically, evolution has stopped and started so many times, and all the radiation has fucked shit up. There's mutants, there's monsters, there's dinosaurs. And this is the world of Clawfang the Barbarian. It's a world of survival. No good guys, no bad guys. It's everyone trying to survive. Now, guys, this is quite remarkable when you think about it. Not only because it's this amazing Al Williamson art, but I need a sip of water. Hold on. But the whole idea that there was like trying out the barbarian concept in 1966, that's like 3 years at least before that proto-Conan story that was in that Marvel comic. I don't know, it was called like Skull the Slayer. No, it wasn't called that. But even before Conan #1, they were dabbling with it, but that was a new thing. So this is very weird to me that they were really, prescient. And maybe if this came out 3 years later, it would have been a sensation, especially with the Al Williamson art. But this was even weirder to me. This almost looks like early Barry Windsor Smith art. I know it's not, but how odd is that this barbarian comic, even the lettering kind of looks like the logo almost looks Conan-y. Okay, now we're gonna hear, this is the news story made for this issue, Clawfang the Barbarian. Once again, script by Wally Wood, pencils by Al Williamson with some help from Roy Krenkel in the backgrounds, and inks by Al Williamson, and GCD says possibly Angela Torres helped out. I don't doubt any of these things, because the Fleagle gang always helped each other out. Al Williamson apparently was very bad with deadlines and would always have his friends pitch in. So we see Clawfang and his raiders. They see this caravan, and they attack. It turns out to be a trap. There's all these soldiers with bows and arrows. They kill most of his men. Or actually, I think they kill all of the raiders, except for Clawfang. This woman comes out. She seems to be like the queen. Oh, she's the princess. Princess Felina. She says, spare this man. And look at that. Kind of looks like Steranko, too. And she says, lay down your weapons and we'll spare your life. He says, and be a slave. But they kind of work out a deal where he's just like, okay, maybe I'll hang out with you for a while. Spare my life. And, I might be, whatever, in your army, basically. This shit is so great. Then these Norns attack. They're like basically these night creatures who only come out from the caves after the sun goes down. And they're all, they kill most of them, but abduct the others. Clawfang wakes up in a cave. And one of the guys who has survived says, the princess, she's gone. So I'm sorry, they're not in a cave. He points to the cave and says, they took her down there. They're going to kill her. So Clawfang goes in there. He's going to rescue her. So many nice panels in here. Now, so it's kind of like a man-made cavern inside with like old technology, pre-dystopian technology. Princess Felina sees him and says, look out. And the Norns attack him. I love this. And they run away. They find this like giant door. They open it and this light streams out, which scares the Norns. Norns don't like fire or light. When they get inside, they see a guy in a prone position. They, all of a sudden it moves. So this guy, I guess, is like thousands of years old. He was in suspended animation. He, I guess when war was coming, he put himself in suspended animation because he knew the world might end. Clawfang doesn't really know what the hell he's talking about. He says, your words are strange to me. And turns out, though, this guy has ill intentions. He's like, this is great. I'll be king of the world now. You will be my first subjects. But Clawfang and Felina kind of attack him. And Clawfang throws him into this control panel. Everything starts blowing up. It destroys itself. And Clawfang regrets that he didn't finish him off. He didn't stay to make sure the guy was dead. Because he's like, who knows what evil he might unleash on the world. So that's the setup. What could have been an amazing, groundbreaking comic in, I guess 67. Because this came out late 66. But I can only imagine a barbarian comic in 67 by Al Williamson. And with Wally Wood writing, that would have been amazing. Okay, guys, this is one of the stupidest superheroes ever. His name's Tiger Boy. And you can tell by the logo how ridiculous he looks. He's just a tiger with a teenage boy's head. Replacing the tiger head. But, guys, this is Gil Kane art, as you can see. Silver Age Gil Kane. Not bad. Script, once again, maybe Autobinder. Nobody knows for sure. So, we see this car just robbed a bank. And Tiger Boy's such a weird character. I think they read Marvel Comics and they're like, oh, we got to give the comics characters, we have to give them an edge or, some kind of angst or, like that was Marvel's secret. So it turns out Tiger Boy's an alien. And the whole comic, he just goes around saying how much he hates all humans. But some are worse than others. And he can't stand to see the way these humans hurt each other. But he really doesn't care about them. Now, and he mentions, too, that he says, I promised my mom I wouldn't use my powers, but I can't stand by and do nothing. Here it says, Earth people are cruel, untrustworthy. I hate them all, but some are worse than others. So here we go. He does his transformation. That's so silly looking. I don't know what they were thinking. Look at him here. It looks like he's just wearing a mask. They chopped off a tiger's head and shoved a mannequin head on. So he attacks the bank robber's car. They start shooting at him. So he says, I need a bulletproof body. So we find out that Tiger Boy can turn into a plethora of different heroes, personas. So he turns into, I don't know what he's called, Robot Man? This robot guy. And so he's bulletproof. And then this is like one of those things like Mort Weisinger would put in a comic. It's so stupid. So he's like, now that I've subdued these 4 bank robbers, I only have 2 arms. How am I going to haul them down to the police station? I know. I'll switch into my Rubber Man persona, and then I can wrap my giant plastic man-like arm around them and deposit them with the police. It's so dopey. So, his name is Rubber Man. So he gets home. I love this. These are his parents. They're giant bugs. And I guess this alien race, all have the powers to, change their appearance. The father tries to tell the kid, not all humans are bad. There's some really nice cocaine stuff going on here. I love his parents. Once again, he says, I can't stand to see Earth people hurting each other. I hate them as much as they hate each other. He's just very misanthropic. And finally, his parents give him the permission to show off his powers, as long as he fights for good. So he's very happy. He goes, yippee! And he goes through all of his forms. And I guess every issue, the shtick was we'd see new characters. The father then tells them the origin of how they flew to Earth a long time ago. And it turns out he has a sister who wandered off from the space crash, and he's got to find her. But apparently, this sounds such a convoluted, stupid thing, is that if he ever meets his sister, your two wills will cancel one another and you will both be destroyed. It doesn't make any sense. It's not even science, it's just stupid. Like these two people from the same race can't meet each other, or their wills will destroy each other. So now we have another one of those little kind of contents pages halfway through the comic. Like, okay, here's the next 3 stories we're about to show you. So this one, story-wise, yeah, it's duty. But really like this cocaine art. That's chocolate syrup. So now we have, oh, guys, once again, we're back up. We're back up on top. Top of the world, ma. Miracles, Inc. And this is, I believe, let me see. Yeah, it's all Wally Wood, except for supposedly Dan Atkins helped on the inks, which wouldn't be surprising since Dan Atkins was his assistant. As you can tell by this amazing art, but it's also played for laughs. This is kind of a goofy, fun story. Wally Wood's definitely, trying to get the yucks. There's this professor. He's kind of like the leader of this little superhero group of misfits, Miracles, Inc. And they're all making kind of dumb jokes. You can really see that Harvey Kurtzman kind of wore off on Wally after, he worked with him so many years. Some of the panels in here looks like they could have been in an old mag. Guys, look at this exquisite art. This is like top-notch Wally Wood. So one night, this guy comes to visit. A stranger approaches. The professor says, don't worry about it. The security here, and the door could withstand a bomb blast, and then there's the security. This guy says, no, they're not making locks like they used to. He just totally waltzes in. All the security systems totally fail to nab him. All kind of very goofy. And, of course, the professor's furious. He's like, what the hell's going on? Okay, boys and girls, attack him. You'll have to stop him. Miracle Inc. lashes out. So now this guy, Misfit, he's waiting to attack the guy, and the guy just opens the door, and the giant steel door knocks him out. Reflex is the speedster. He totally sidesteps him, and he goes crashing through the wall. This guy, Thermo, he's got the power of heat and cold, and he sets off the fire alarm sprinklers, so it kind of fizzles him out. And then I love this guy. His name is Madlet, because he's tiny. He's a Madlet. And he tries to buzz him with his little mini jet, and the wizard just swats it with his umbrella, saying, confounded insects. I didn't say it's necessarily funny, but it's trying to be funny, And then finally, Clank, the professor's super robot, is going to stop him. But this guy short circuits him. So he makes it all the way through. He introduces himself to the professor. And the professor's so mad, he kicks his ass. And so now we see this guy. He's now in a superhero outfit. He's called the Wizard. And he basically said, he's the narrator of this tale. He says, and so that's how I became affiliated with Miracles, Inc. And it's a cute, whatever, little ending there. But I don't think any of these ever appeared again. Really good stuff. Definitely worth the price of admission. So here we have Captain... technically this is called How the Three Rocketeers Teamed Up. And I don't know if you guys remember, we looked at this comic about a year ago. Jack Kirby, 50s work reprinted in the 60s from Harvey. And these characters, the three Rocketeers. Unfortunately, Jack Kirby moved on. So this is script by Otto Binder, pencils by Mike Sikowski, and possibly inks by Joe Giella and Frank Giacomo. And this isn't very good. The three Rocketeers were out in space, and this shows how they met. And I still love how one of them is called Beefy Brown. He's the gruff mechanic. Oh, so that's just kind of a 2-page introduction. And then we have this part, which is, I think, the same creative team. This story is just like a weird little sci-fi tale. They're out in space. They see the space station being attacked by like almost non-explosive projectiles, almost like meteors. They go to investigate. Sometimes I like Mike Sikowski's faces, but I don't think he put a lot into this comic. I think, working for Harvey isn't, you don't really have to do your best, or you're not encouraged to. And then they go inside, and they're overpowered by these aliens. They take them, their leader, Craybar. I'm sorry, this guy is complaining about this guy, Craybar. Apparently, he's at war with Uranus, not Uranus, Uranus. And the doc says, their professor, he's like the smart one, Doc Faraday, he says, guys, we have to get out of here immediately. Trust me, head for the hatch. They make it back to their ship. And apparently they were in a time warp. These guys are 1,000 years old. It doesn't really matter. It's not even that good a twist ending, but I think it's supposed to be like this cool sci-fi ending. But somehow through some time hijinks, because they noticed that all the technology was very primitive on these things, on these, both the spaceship attacking and the space station. Not very good. There's a little bonus Rocky and Bullwinkle comic from Cheerios. This is a goofy little comic. It's called Super Surplus. Now, this is written by Otto Binder, and they don't even know who drew it, but their guess is Carl Pfeiffer. I believe he was a Golden Age artist. Like, he was, at this point, he'd been drawing for a long time. So these two kids say, we can talk to the whole galaxy with this radio I made. And maybe we could ask all the planets if they really do have superheroes, if they could send them to Earth to thrill us. Maybe they do have superheroes out there, just like we do in comic books. And then there's a fire, and then all of a sudden a superhero shows up. This kind of generic superhero. He's going to rescue everyone, stop the fire. But then another superhero shows up, and they conk heads trying to get to the fire. And basically they just start fighting. They ignore the fire and just start fighting amongst themselves. And then all these other superheroes show up and start fighting. And finally they put the fire out after causing all this havoc. And they say, hey, anytime you want us again, just call. And the kid's all like, screw that. He goes home and he smashes the radio. He's like, I'll never do that again. Okay, guys, this is amazing. This is Earthman. I wish there was more of these. This is the only chapter ever made. And this is, I believe, all Wally Wood, except for the reliable Ben Oda on lettering. It's kind of a John Carter type story. This spaceship lands on this alien planet, which has all these exotic, beautiful locales. The writing's pretty nice, just very good science fiction, describing the environs of this planet. There's all kinds of, there's airless forests that are shrouded in eternal twilight, where giant trees shut out the sun, things like that. He lands in a desert, and when he lands, he realizes he's an amnesiac. He doesn't know his own name. For some reason, just the phrase Earthman is in his head. He knows he's an Earthman. He's not quite sure what that means even. So, God, look at this great art by Wood. This is some really good Wood. And all of a sudden, he's attacked by this kind of lizard dude. And when he leaps away instinctively, he goes like, 300 yards, just like John Carter, because the gravity's less. So he grabs the tail of the mount that lizard creature was riding, and he wallops them. And when one of these lizard people try to conk him on the head, nothing happens. So I guess he's super strong too on this planet, like super dense or something. He can take punishment. And then they all get on their knees and say, Grongad, and they kind of worship him. So he walks away, and they all start following him, almost like he's their messiah, saying, Grongad, Grongad. The whole time, he doesn't even notice because, his head aches, he feels sick. He doesn't know who he is, and it's disconcerting. All of a sudden, these, kind of pterodactyl riding barbarians attack. He attacks them back. He leaps in the air, but they have some kind of power weapons, and they zap him out. Oh, so many nice panels of this. This is just like the comic Wood was meant to draw. So they take him to their little city, and he's all confused. He doesn't know what's going on. His head hurts so bad that he can barely focus, and then all of a sudden he realizes what's happening. They're going to execute all of his buddies. Well, they're not really his buddies, but, his lizard guys. So he breaks his bonds. That's such a Wally Wood panel right there. And he attacks the whole citadel, brings it down to rubble, and he's kicked everyone's ass. And then he starts walking away again. Now this time, those pterodactyl riding guys are following too, and they're all saying Grongad. So it's like he's gaining converts. Then finally he gets to this very futuristic city, and he's like, finally, maybe there's people inside that are human-like, and they can explain what's going on. All of a sudden, his warriors, his acolytes, attack. They think that's why he led them there. And he's like, no, they're going to queer the deal. So he leaps in front of them, stands in front of the gate, and he's so strong, he's just tossing them all aside like rag dolls. And then all of a sudden he gets zapped by an energy beam from the city. He wakes up in this kind of laboratory, and he's in a force field. And we see this woman, Lindra, and this guy, Noxus. It's almost like Nexus, but with an O, Noxus. And they're having a debate. She's saying, there's something about his face. I think he's kind. I think he just has amnesia. Maybe we could let him go. I think we could take the chance. And he's like, are you crazy? That guy's the strength of a whole army. If he decides to go crazy in our city, he'll bring down the whole place. Turns out Noxus has he's got nefarious reasons. He knows the reason why they were saying Grongad is because that's some kind of prophecy all these bestial men and lizard men believe in, that one day a kind of a military warrior prophet will come and unite them, and they'll take over the world. So Noxus figures, I'll be his prophet and sway them, and I will take over the world with them as my army. So I have to keep them under wraps. So right then, because they have their prophet, the combined forces of the lizard men and the pterodactyl riders attack. I love this. The pterodactyl riders are throwing primitive bombs down on them. So, and then Noxus lets them into the city. Landra sees this. She says, I have no choice. I have to let this guy go, Earthman. Because he keeps saying Earthman, so she knows that that's what he calls himself. That's what she assumes. So there's this bridge that they're all storming across. Earthman says, I gotta destroy that bridge. And he just lands on it and breaks it in two so they can't pass. Noxus tells the soldiers to kill the Earthman. And she says, Noxus is a traitor. He opened the gate, sees him. And Noxus makes a run for it, tries to shoot everyone. Earthman saves Landra's life. Oh, like so many great panels of this. And Noxus is about to get away, but Earthman grabs him off of his steed and drags him back. And then he finally has a little memory. He says, I remember now. I came here on a rocket ship. I still don't know my name or anything. I must find that spaceship. So he just leaves without a word. It even says, Earthman would like to hear from you. Would you like to see more of Earthman? And apparently the clamor wasn't enough to keep it going. But this is some really choice stuff from like, especially considering like the Silver Age. That's some great shit from like 66, you know? There you go, guys. Unearthly Spectaculars #2. I would say a must-have comic, but it's also a must-flush down the toilet comic. There's some shit in here, like really bad stuff. And then some amazing stuff. So it's such an odd comic. I remember I first read about this in Fred Hembeck in his comics when I was like 10. I think my brother got those Hembeck comics. I reread those over and over. I've never mentioned, well, maybe I have, but those Hembeck comics that mentioned other comics, my whole life I've been trying to read some of those comics. And over the years, I'm like, oh, this is that comic Fred Hembeck talked about that I read it over and over about. And this was one of them that kind of fascinated me. And I don't know how long ago, a few years ago, I got one relatively cheap. But it looks like all the other ones, I decided to get all the other ones, you know, like Thrillerama. They're pretty bad. In fact, I just read Thrillerama #1. I'm sorry, Double Dare Adventures. And I kicked it out. I couldn't even make a video for it because I didn't want to subject you guys to it. It's a fucking terrible comic. It's like, not even a fun way. It's not like, haha, this is so bad, it's good. It's just crap. Like really boring crap. Just like these, like Jack Frost. But this has Wally Wood and Al Williamson redeeming it. And I highly recommend it. Look it up. I don't think it's very expensive, too. I don't think anyone cares about this comic. But it's pretty worthy to be in your collection. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. And I hope to see you next time here at the Herculespetix Academy of Comic Book Studies.